Has a go and scores majestically.
Oh my word! Fabulous!
Oh, what a strike that is! Simply spectacular.
Oh, it's an absolute beauty, isn't it?
The best goal of the night.
It all starts here.
Hello and welcome to a very special episode of National League 72. My name is Curly and alongside me, as always, is my partner in football, Aaron McLean. Right, we've had the regular season, the playoff eliminators and semi-finals. There is just one game to go. It all leads to this.
You cannot play down the importance of what that trophy means. It is the passport to the Football League.
Not much can match this.
Toil, trial and tribulations boil down to the next 90 minutes or so.
It's flicked onto the back post and turned in! Maguire Drew was there! Scott sends Notts County back to the Football League! Would you believe it? Oh, it's in!
He took it magnificently!
Oh my word! This is scarcely believable! And he kept it out! Webster for Bromley. Scores! Bromley are promoted! Finally it's their time! Finally it's their day! Promoted back to the Football League!
Well, here we are, Aaron. One game to go. The big one at Wembley Stadium. Oldham Athletic versus Southend United. How are you feeling about it?
I can't wait. I'm so excited for this game. I'd like to add that I predicted that this was going to be the final.
Did you?
I did. Listen,
We'll have to go back and have a look.
Back through the archives, I predicted that it would be an Oldham Southend final. And listen, I think two teams that have done magnificent to get there, both overcome, the likes of York and Forest Green in the semi-finals in totally different ways. But yeah, I just think it's going to be a thrilling encounter.
Well, let's talk about those semi-finals. The first one, I had the pleasure of presenting that for DAZN, York versus Oldham. You mentioned just there two very different games. This one, Oldham, once again, blew a team out of the water. What was your impressions of their performance?
Well, it was very similar to Halifax. They went in, they were strong, powerful. They played very much to their strengths. And that's what's really impressed me. I feel like Oldham, at the end of the season, almost just tapered off a little bit, preparing themselves for the playoffs. Preparing themselves to go and just overrun teams and use their physicality. And, they did that against Halifax. They did the exact same thing to York, and York didn't have an answer for it.
Talking about taking your foot off the gas, we spoke to Dean Holden about it and Adam Hinshelwood. How difficult do you think it was for York to have that 2-week period? Yes, they had games behind closed doors, but nothing can prepare you for a semi-final and a playoff like actually being there and getting that competitive games under your belt.
Well, I think we saw what the advantage of having those games in between can give you. I think Oldham are the perfect example of having the games, playing at your max intensity, and then rolling into the next one, bringing through everything that you've learned as well as the confidence in your ability, in your style of play. Whereas York didn't have that. When it wasn't quite working out for York, they looked a bit ring rusty. You've got to say Oldham were just fantastic on the day. They, like I say, they blew Halifax away within 12 minutes. And it was a little bit of a longer process against York, but strength-wise, power-wise, they were just far superior and fully deserved the win.
York will be back though, won't they? They finished 23 points ahead of Oldham, so they'll feel a little bit sore and a bit deflated at the minute. But the way Adam Hinshelwood had his York City team playing throughout the season is very commendable.
Absolutely, they've been outstanding. But for a few results that didn't go their way, they would have been promoted.
And the atmosphere at the LNER was absolutely incredible. The home support before the game, the first 10, 15 minutes before that goal went in was absolutely amazing. And the away support, again, they travelled so well. How much can that support help Oldham at Wembley?
Huge amounts, you know, huge. The crowd, especially at Wembley, the crowd can make such a difference.
I was watching the pictures of you on DAZN at Forest Green versus Southend at the end of the game. I'm glad you got it in one piece because it looked absolutely carnage. But the yin and the yang of the two ties, we had a drubbing in the first one, and this game had absolutely everything, didn't it?
Well, it's brilliant. You know, at one point you have to say it looked like Forest Green had literally masterminded the perfect plan. Speaking to Steve Cottrell before the game, and he had prepared for every single eventuality leading all the way through to penalties. And it ended up getting to penalties. What you can't, you know, prepare for is whether somebody misses or scores. You know, I must say, Forest Green, if McCann goes to the corner, they win the game. He opts to, he gets tackled, Southend break away and score. And that for me, you know, looking at that tie as a whole, that was the key moment in the tie. Because Southend, once they break away, really intelligent play from Bridge. He plays it out wide, gets it back, and then the finish to level things up. And then it's just about character. It's about whether or not once you step up to that spot, you've got it in you to be able to dispatch it. And they even went behind in the shootout and still managed to find a way to come back, and it was fitting that it was Gus Scott Morris that scored the winner.
How much confidence can they take from going to extra time in this game, but have also now got a nice gap? They're not going to be too tired going into the Wembley final, but know that they can still be switched on, they can still be dangerous, even when they're absolutely shattered after doing 120 minutes.
Yeah, well, I think, like we said about Oldham, you know, having come through the eliminator and then the semi-final, they now know that they can go hard for 120 minutes and then still have the composure when it gets to a penalty shootout. They are both bringing huge amounts of confidence, totally different. You know, they've had to battle the Rochdale eliminator, 3-1 down, looked down and out, looked like Rochdale were through, and they found the strength and character to come back and win that game. Forest Green, 2-1 down, game's nearly over, found the equalising goal, and then managed to take it to penalties and come through it. They've both shown so much, and that's why I think it's going to be such a great game, because they're both in totally different places, but both would have had huge amounts of confidence from the previous two games that they've just come through.
I touched upon the scenes at the end of the game. You mentioned Gus Scott Morris, though, who scored the winning penalty. Did you see the celebration when he gets kneed in the head by one of his own?
I did, yeah. So
I hope he's all right for the game. That would have been
it was
terrible accident.
It was insane. You know, the pitch invasion at the end. The job's not done yet.
No.
You know, there's still a game to go. But both sets of fans will be going to Wembley with huge optimism and, you know, thinking about what could be.
Erin's right, the job is not done yet, and it all leads to that game at Wembley Stadium. We'll be talking about that after this short break, and we'll also take a look back at some of our favourite moments of the season.
Greatness comes to DAZN this summer. The world's best players will be summoned together to decide the greatest club on earth.
Vinicius, great chance to score.
Goats will battle Wonder Kids. Fire will meet ice. From Boca to Bayern, PSG to Palmeiras, 32 clubs from across the globe will compete to be crowned
Rodrigo, what a strike that was.
world champion. And this summer, Haaland won't be watching from home, but you can, on DAZN. In every country in the world. FIFA Club World Cup. Watch on DAZN from the 14th of June.
And Messi! Mbappe! Ronaldo with the shot, oh, it's gone in! It's one of the greats!
To score a goal like that, you can see what it meant to me personally.
Beckham scores for England. Surely now Spain have won the World Cup.
Hello and welcome back to National League 72. So it is the big one at Wembley Stadium on Sunday, live on DAZN. It is the National League promotion final. Who will be going up to the EFL? Will it be Oldham Athletic or Southend United? Everyone, we've already spoken about it a little bit. Two very well supported teams. Wembley Stadium, if they allow the tickets, is going to be packed.
Oh, it's going to be absolutely manic, you know, and rightly so. You know, when these two met earlier in the season, I think when it was at Oldham, there were 5,000 or 6,000. At Southend, there was over 8,000. This could be, you know, 50, 60,000 if tickets are permitted. These two teams have been the two standout teams. They have performed exceptionally well. And like I say, I just hope that on the big stage, in front of the DAZN cameras, you know, both teams go and really go hammer and tong.
Who do you think goes into this game with more confidence? Obviously, you look at the results. Oldham Athletic coming off the back of the York win and the FC Halifax win. Southend was a bit more of a difficult journey, but they got through it. You've played the game, you know what it's like. What camp would you rather be in?
Well, Oldham come into it as favourites. There's no question. It's not just the wins, it's the manner of the wins. You know, they've gone and blown teams away. And it's almost like they've hit Boyle at the perfect time of the season. If you're Southend, you still bring so much confidence into it because they've had to come through adversity, and it almost galvanises you. It really brings you together when your back's against the wall and you come out fighting and you win. You know, so both teams are going to go into it with huge confidence, but I just look and think the manner of the wins that Oldham have put together, especially in these last two games, they have to come in as the favourites.
Who do you think will be the key men for both sides? We love talking about Mike Fondop, and I referenced the fact that you were talking about him being a beast, being a powerhouse. I said that to Dean Holden. He absolutely echoed everything you say. It's a great opportunity again for him to showcase what he can do on the big stage.
Yeah, well, we spoke to him earlier on in the season, and he just said that as he gets older, he feels that he's getting better. He feels like he's getting stronger. And listen, experience will do that for you. You know, what he's got on his side is that he keeps himself in fantastic condition. You know, if you see him with his top off, he's an absolute unit. And all the experience that he's acquired over the years, compiled with a really experienced manager playing him in the way that he needs to be played. The team are very much geared towards getting him in behind. You go and use your strength and your physicality, use your skills. You know, he's a very technically gifted player as well, you know. And you saw the shot that he hit with his left foot. If that goes in, you know, that's goal of the playoffs. So he feels confident, he feels loved, and he is going to be one of the standout men. I've got to say, for Oldham, I think Corey Evans is going to have a huge effect on the game. I saw that he got, you know, player of the match in the semi-final, and I've played with Corey. You know, I was at Hull City with Corey, and his experience, his ability is unquestionable. You know, he has the ability to control the game on his own, and having, you know, fresh legs in and around him allows him to just be able to concentrate on dictating and organising. He could be a pivotal man for Oldham.
The fresh legs that you may or may not be referring to is a name that was being shouted in the crowd a lot. Jürgen Nathan came to the party that day. Obviously, he got the assist and the goal as well. He looks lively. He looks like a proper talent. And I guess that's what you're sort of saying with like Corey Evans doing that work, and with the players around him, they can just flourish. Absolutely.
And that's, you know, again, that's really good management, because you bring a youngster in, you know, he's only 19, you know, on loan from Barnsley. But there you go. The shackles are off. You go and play and express yourself. Yeah. But what you've got is somebody with a huge amount of experience beside you, just guiding you through the game. You know, because as a youngster, you naturally will just go and play with an element of freedom. But having that experience, someone just talking to you, you know, getting you back in positions, making sure that you're in the right areas. But then once you've got the ball, go and express yourself. You know, and I think we saw that especially in the semi-final. He was outstanding in the day. But like I say, having the experience and the youth, that blend, Mickey Mellon has got that perfect.
Kevin Mayer's got his own experience and youth in his side, but one name that is always at the forefront of any conversation with the Shrimpers is Gus Scott Morris, who, once again, you said it was fitting that he scored that winning penalty, but just what an incredible season he's had, yet again, from the full-back, right-back position.
Yeah, I don't think we can speak highly enough of Gus Scott Morris, because to get 17 goals from right wing back, you know, he's actually a right back. You know, he just bombs on. For him to get that level of goal return is outstanding. You know, he's outscored the majority of strikers in the National League and in any league. What they've done is managed to almost manipulate the team to play in a way that allows Gus Scott Morris to be in goal-scoring positions. Obviously, listen, Gus Scott Morris himself has to take a huge chunk of the credit, because he's the one who repeatedly finds himself in those positions and does the hardest thing in football, which is put the ball in the back of the net.
Easy for you though, wasn't it?
Well, it's not easy for everyone, so you know, he's clearly watched some of my DVDs showing my age.
Exactly right. A reminder: you can watch the National League promotion final from Wembley Stadium live on DAZN. Before we move on to this blind ranking top 10 goals, I have to get your prediction for the game. I know I've been told I've got to do one as well, so good luck.
I definitely can't call this one. This is a team that's going and steamrolling people, and a team that has a never say die attitude and can rise from the ashes when the odds are against them. I couldn't tell you who's going to win this one.
Well, there you go. He hasn't given us a proper prediction, but make sure you tune in to DAZN on Sunday to watch this entertaining game, no doubt. Right, whilst we've had the chaos of the playoff semi-finals, the drubbings, the draws, the penalties, the DAZN team have been working tirelessly to bring you the top 10 goals of the season. However, they've set us a little challenge for me and Erin. We are going to be blind ranking the top 10 goals. So what that means is we will see one goal and then we'll give it a position 1 to 10, and then hopefully we've got them in the right spot. So up first, we've got Charlie Kendall for Woking against Oldham. Top bins all day. I mean, I'd love to score a goal like that. Where do you see that? That is a strike from distance.
Yeah, it is. It's a fantastic strike from Charlie. I don't want to go too early.
You can't. I was thinking middle of the road.
Yeah, I'm thinking very much middle of the road. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna. I'd say 5.
Yeah, that's what I had in my head. There you go. That was
I'm
easy.
happy with a 5.
Second goal, Nick Horton, AFC Fylde, David Beckham-esque against Wimbledon. First of all, how difficult is it to produce a goal like that?
Well, it's ridiculous. There's only very few players that have the technical ability to be able to do that. But Nick is definitely one of them. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if there's about another 4 of Nick's goals in this top 10. Oh, that's a great strike.
The thing is, do we put that higher than 5 in terms of lower to 1 to 4?
That's high. That's up there for me. That's right up there.
Not the best. Do you think it's the best?
I don't know if it's the best.
I can't remember the goals. There've been so many.
But that ranks highly for me. I'm going to put that in my top 3.
Top 3.
So I'm going to say, 3.
Right, we might have a difficult situation here, because if we're going off our rule that goals from long distance inside their own half, just inside the other half, are our top 3, we've just seen Liam Sercombe do exactly the same for Forest Green Rovers. So have we seen number 1 or 2, or do we think that's slightly
No,
worse?
what I'll say is I think Nick Horton's one was better.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, that goal's a fantastic strike.
Yeah.
But he was a bit, A, closer, B, had more time to be able to look up and see the goalkeeper off his line. So that ranks lower for me.
Because the instinctiveness of Nick Horton's is...
Yes.
Yes, it's a reaction.
Instinct and
Where Liam had
technique.
too many touches.
Yeah, far too many touches, Liam. So that for me, I'd put that down as A 6?
Yeah.
A 6 for me.
Right, we're panicking a little bit here because we've just seen Josh Lundstrom's goal, and that is an absolute worldie, an instinctive, reactive volley from the ball coming down to him. I'm putting this all on you as a professional footballer, striker. Where do we see that one going?
Okay, so what I will say, fantastic technique, fantastic strike, fantastic goal. We've seen some incredible goals this season. So bearing in mind, we're picking the top 10.
Yeah.
So I do think that that's an easier technique.
Yep.
Because it's almost just a paintbrush action. Take nothing away from the strike, but it's going to rank lower down in my top 10. I'm going to put that at 8.
Yep. Okay. Going for 8.
Yeah.
Just because it's a paintbrush.
Yeah, just because there's great goals, but I think that there's going to be something's
rejigged your memory. You're like, I know there's loads more better goals out there, but we'll put that one in number 8. So that's 3, 5, 6, and 8. Feel sorry whoever's going to be at number 10. I'm going to take nothing away from Tyler Golden's goal there, but I'm going to take the lead on this purely for the basis that the ball is on the floor. It's quite a nice angle. So for me, I'm going lower than 8. So I think that could be our 9 or 10. Purely because I think the technique's not as difficult as some of the other ones that we've seen. I might be completely wrong.
No, I agree with you. I agree.
That's nice. It's a great goal, don't get me wrong.
It's a brilliant goal. He uses the defender really well, just bends it round him. He's aiming for that far side of the goal, and there's a lot of space there. Where it goes in makes it even better.
Yeah.
But I'd put that as a 10.
Yes, we agree on 10. I was going to say I felt like I could score that one.
Don't be silly. Don't be so silly.
Okay, so we've just seen Adam May's goal for Forest Green Rovers against Solihull. I remember when this went in, we all looked at that technique and went, that is some strike. It probably won your goal of the week when we did that earlier in the season. That technique looks difficult, cutting across the ball like that. What's your thoughts on a goal like that and where it may rank?
Yeah, that's a fabulous strike. It's, like you say, outside of the boot, curling away from the goalkeeper. There's a player in front of him as well, so he has to go that way. To have the ability to be able to strike it like that is outstanding.
We've got 1, 2, 4, 7, 9.
I think that could be a 4.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a 4
where
for me.
I was leaning. Because I feel like with these blind rankings, they always put some ones at the end, so you end up getting stitched up and looking like numpties.
Yeah, and listen, knowing our producers, we are definitely getting stitched up. But yeah, that's a 4 for me.
Yeah, Adam May goes in at 4. So Sean McGurk's goal for Yeovil against Ebbsfleet, that has to go either 1, 2, 7 or 9. Now straight away, I'm looking at the back end going 7 or 9. I don't know where you sit with that. Again, taking nothing away from the strike because I could only ever dream of scoring a goal like that. But in terms of this and what we've seen so far, I'm leaning on those 2 numbers.
Yeah, I think I'd give that a 9.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant strike. He hits it true, and it's a lovely strike of the ball. I think the ball's on the floor. He's got a decent sight of goal, and he just catches it so clean. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, that's 9. That's a 9 all day. Golden Boot winner, Ollie Pierce, the man who has just climbed the divisions and produced week in, week out. However, does that flick goal make it to the top 2, or is it our number 7? I've got a number in my mind. You say yours and I'll see if we agree.
Okay, well, I think that is a brilliant goal. Brilliant improvisation. Unfortunately, Ollie, that will rank at 7 for me.
I agree.
I do think it's a brilliant goal. It's quickness of mind, which we know Ollie's got in abundance. And it's a great goal. But, sorry, it's only making it to 7 for me.
Yeah, I agree. If we were doing the skills of the season, that would definitely have been right up there. Well, this next goal is either going to be our top goal or our silver medalist. Jamie Cook's goal for FC Halifax Town. I remember this going in. It was an absolute wonder strike. So, Erin, as the only striker between us in this studio, where do you think that goes? 1 or 2?
Well, I remember that goal, and when we said we were doing the top 10 goals, that was the goal that I had in my mind. That was the first one that came to my mind. So if there's been a better one than that, then I'll hold my hands up. But I'm going to say that's the number 1.
That is our number 1 goal of the season, which means what have they put in there for number 2? Let's find out. Now, I think me and Erin, mainly Erin, have cracked this because Lewis Simper's goal has to go in at number 2. And this happened a couple of weeks after Cook's goal. So for them to be 1 and 2, I think we smashed it.
Yeah, I think we've nailed it. I distinctly remember those 2 goals, and I remember Simper's goal was a week or 2 weeks after Cook's goal. And we actually said on the show that it was a brilliant strike, but it wasn't as good as Jamie Cook's. So, yeah, I think the ball bounces and then he hits it. So, definitely in the top 10, definitely in the top 2, but it goes down as number 2 and Jamie Cook comes out on top.
Well, there you have it, the top 10 goals from the 24-25 National League season. Do let us know if you agree with mine and Erin's blind ranking. Now, I'm sure you'll all be very sad that the National League is coming to a close, but there's more football coming your way live on DAZN, the FIFA Club World Cup, where we will see that ball in action in the States.
It's time to decide the greatest club on earth. A brand new tournament comes to the US this summer. FIFA Club World Cup, starring 32 elite clubs from across 6 continents and more icons than you can dream of. Kicking off on the 14th of June, 8 groups of 4 teams will go to battle, with the top 2 advancing to the knockouts. 63 unmissable matches played across 29 days, ahead of the final on the 13th of July, to crown, for the first time in history, one club world champion. Watch every game free on DAZN.
Erin, what goes through your head as a player when you walk out on promotion final day?
There's going to be so much emotion in the stadium. Both sets of fans are going to go there with a huge amount of optimism. Both sets of players will be thinking about playing in the EFL next year, but only one team can be victorious. What I'll say is go there, enjoy it, and embrace the occasion, because it's an occasion that not many people get to experience. I never got the opportunity to play at Wembley. It definitely was one that I wish that I had. So maximise it, make the most of it. This is my favourite day of the season. You know, I always look forward to the promotion final, and I think that this one will be one of the best yet.
I absolutely echo what Erin said. The National League this season has been nothing short of sensational, and it has been certainly my honour, and I'm sure Erin's as well, to be covering it for you, the supporters at home on DAZN. We've absolutely loved it this season. There's one more to go. Make sure you tune in to the National League promotion final at Wembley Stadium this Sunday. And me and Erin will see you next time.